So let's start with the film.
Talk has become mainstream.
We are probably one of the last generations of Homo sapiens.
The end of humanity, ushered in not by pandemic, nuclear war or climate change, but by the machines.
Let's look at AI because specifically the risk that could lead to the extinction of humans.
All of this is headed towards a post-human paradigm on planet Earth.
What's freaking people out is that the warning comes from the scientists, engineers and CEOs who are creating AI themselves.
The percentage of intelligence that is not human is increasing, and eventually we will represent a very small percentage of intelligence.
And the idea that just because 4 tech barons who run the big Silicon Valley companies, they want a world where most people are made redundant, 99% will be useless, and somehow you have to keep them busy because otherwise they'll rebel, is forgetting that this amazing planet is waiting for 100% human beings to come to the service of the Earth and each other.
So let's have a closer look at this story of humanity.
Yes, welcome to my talk. Let's have a conversation on this story of humanity. Perhaps you expect me now to tell you what other speakers tell you about at this conference, like this Silicon Valley monk who teaches its students that there is this extra intelligence, and this extra intelligence found humans thousands of years ago and took us as hosts. And now this extra intelligence gives consciousness away from us, and it's giving it to AI. This is a story that's seriously discussed. The media is full of it. It's full of it. The books sell millions worldwide for years. Interesting. It's a story which always circulates around 2 main arguments. If you see them, be conscious of it. One is, humans are predictably irrational. They are suboptimal. They are inefficient. They have to sleep. They make mistakes. Simply, humanity is at a point of where its biological evolution is simply not where it can keep up with machines. If I'm going to a tech conference, I will confront many people who are programmers in AI, and they will tell me, but Sarah, in the end, we're all bots. You know, we're kind of also working like a computer. We're a little bit like algorithms. If you read Harari, who has read Harari's Homo Deus? Who has it? Who has it on his shelf? Well, quite a lot. Over 90 times, this author is alluding to what we call computer anthropology, meaning we humans are just predictable. On the other side, there is this really powerful AI, and it has all completely stunned us. I mean, probably all of you have used the GPT, have tried it out. You see the massive business potential, and we hear about it all over the conference. And so listen to it. It's beautiful, it's creative, and it's so much better than human beings. It's the next stage of evolution. So these 2 arguments, the small human and the great technology, is coming back at us all the time. And you know what? It's terrible. If you read, and I quote an author that is heralded even by Harari, who's writing, Ray Kurzweil, in 2005, let's get rid of the human. Although artificial hearts are beginning to be feasible replacements, a more effective approach will be to get rid of the heart altogether. This is a Google product director. Would you hire a person speaking like that? I'm not so sure. I'm very critical of all of that narrative. I really, really don't believe in it. I think we have to be careful because the first powerful generation of AI, which is those AIs that feed us through social media, through LinkedIn, through Facebook, through TikTok, through Instagram, that's taken up again by the media, has put us all, to a certain extent, in a matrix. And there are the architects of that matrix, and there are the agents, Agent Smith, for those who saw the film, who are the Hararis and the Nick Bostroms and all those people who put those ideas, those subjects, right in on our social media feed. But there are also the Neils, the people, you and I, who could be skeptical about it. And I would like to present you with a couple of hypotheses that I think are questions that are much more important to discuss in a venue like this one. Now I'd start to become dull. The first hypothesis is that the digital transformation is actually producing decreasing marginal utility across industries. And AI won't change that. AI is just another tool for productivity gains for a short while. It's changing interfaces, yes. It's changing productivities, yes. But it won't change that every single company that's operating this has to invest in hardware, in software, in change management, in security issues, in legal investments, in compliance issues, and it has to manage an increasingly complexity at the back end that is so complex by now, the system of systems, that every single IT manager you're talking to is probably on antidepressives. Yeah? And that is an equation that AI won't take out of the business. Second thing, I made an analysis this past year, on chip supply. Now, you have all heard, of course, that 90% of the GPUs are coming from Taiwan, so we're building a factory in Germany, and then we have some more sourcing in Europe, and then we're all fixed. You know, that's kind of solutionism to this problem. Well, I can tell you it's not going to work like that. I'm just giving you one number. We are very, very proud on the lithography machines that ASML produces in Holland, the machines to produce chips. Now, only one part of ASML suppliers that company Triumph needs, and now listen to this, 457 329,000 components. I really memorized this number for this talk. Over 450,000 components that you need to produce the machines to produce chips. We are dealing here with the most complex supply chains ever produced by humanity. So how are you going to do that in a geopolitical world where we are currently in the West parting from those countries and continents that are supplying us with all of that? I think we'll be very happy in 10 years if we can replace our washing machine. We're not talking about AI at this point. had a very funny incident this morning. I came here with a driver from the DLD conference, and he told me that a father of his friend is currently building the servers for an IT company moving to Vienna. Unfortunately, they don't have any chips. So he's now buying washing machines in the media market where he decomposes those washing machines to take the chips to put it into the server room. This is reality. This is reality. Next point. I really don't care that an IT company tells me that they are now producing their energy close to a river and that they are CO2 neutral because what they cannot cool from their servers, they're buying it into second-class CO2 certificates. What I'm caring about is about the whole global supply chain for IT. Think about just the sourcing of the rare earths. If you want to produce 1 ton of rare earths, you're producing 70,000 liters of spoiled water, of acid water. Did everybody ever count that if you want to bring all these 329,000 components together, it's an incredible logistics operations that's also producing, has also an ecological impact. Nobody's talking about these things. Then, of course, something, yes, it's being talked about. It's the correlation truth of the transformer technology that we are currently seeing, and that's all putting us into hallucinations. And last but not least, at the same time, humans' true potential and everything we are now starting to know about it, from e-cognition, from quantum mind, and so on, yes, it's being researched, but it's not put to inform our cooperation with these machines to create a world in which humans and AI, humans and machines, are not in a replacement relationship. So all of these theses, many of you might be surprised about, especially in a conference like this one. I'm aware of that. So you might be thinking, how come somebody's telling me that? And how come that you actually have to think like that? What I have done, and what I believe you and we all should be doing, is to take a step back, to go analog. I'm not part of the social media feed. I have long left it, which is why I'm not biased towards AI conversation and all that super intelligence, but I'm looking at what's happening in the companies. I'm looking at what's happening in the supply chains. And I think this is what needs to be done much more. And you simply have to retreat from the net. And you have to retreat, getting calm again. The network configurations make that we are now living in machine real time. And that machine real-time has created a zeitgeist vacuum. And that zeitgeist vacuum, only that vacuum allows so many people to believe in this fancy that's at the same time becoming a huge problem for us. So I think what we need to do right now, very practical. First thing, we need to come up with a proper reporting for total cost of digitization in the companies. Secondly, we have to develop an ecological balance sheet for digitization, including all resources needed, used, and wasted. Thirdly, we need to become realistic about the degree of complexity of IT in the backends that we are safe and wise to handle. And that's particularly important now as we're building interfaces to the AI suppliers. And last but not least, we need to invest in a 4E cognition, that's a cognitive science term, 4E cognition-informed understanding of human behavior, coupled with an openness for quantum philosophical insights into how humans diffract and interact in truth with this reality, because we are so much better than the IT industry and others like to portray us. This portrayal, of course, has its own appeal. And I want to finish this talk with a quote from Simon Weil. Imaginary evil is romantic, and real evil is gloomy, monotonous, barren, and boring. Imaginary good and also imaginary reality is boring, but real good is always new, marvelous, and intoxicating. So carefully choose whether you want to invest your thinking into the red herrings of the superintelligences or into reality. Thank you very much.